Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Turnbuckles and Stogies. Yo, what is up? What is up? Yo, happy Sunday. Another Sunday with your favorite hostess with the mostest.
Like that, I'm doing a wrestling punch. I like the wrestling. Hey.
We are Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod, your hostess with the mostest, the big dog, the vanilla gorilla, and ladies and gentlemen, today, yo, y'all ready for this? Because I don't think they're ready for this, Joe.
I don't know. It might not be.
Yo, what is up? What is up? Happy Sunday, happy fun day. It is your favorite podcast, Turnbuckles and Stogies, the only podcast that talks about wrestling and cigars on a Sunday. Yo, we are here today, here in our office, and we are going to start our day off today talking about what we're smoking. So, what are you smoking today, son? I'm smoking the Worthless by Sagrado Cigars.
I'm actually going to smoke a Natalie from Sagrado Cigars. We are now brokers for them, so
anybody wants to reach out to us, reach out to us. So let's start our Sunday fun day, and let's talk about Worthless. Let's talk about
we had Crown Jewel yesterday.
Crown Jewel.
So that was something I was looking forward to as I light my cigar.
Let's talk about how they started it. They started it with Bloodline versus the Bloodline.
Yeah, so they started with the new Bloodline versus the OG Bloodline. And I was shocked they started it with that. But it started off the card the way it should have been. Strong and you know, it started off the card strong. And from start to finish, they told a story, which is by far the best thing they can do right now is telling stories, because that's what everybody's looking for. And it's a compelling story. Yeah. And, you know, the match went on, you know, who interfered, who did everything they could to try to make the other one lose. You know, it ultimately wound up with Solo getting the pin on Roman because of Jacob's interference. And then
what else is new with that?
They
guy?
go to beat down Roman, and as they go to beat down Roman, Jimmy comes in the ring. Jimmy gets beat up, and then Sammy's music hits, and Sammy comes out. Solo tries to reason with him. You know, you're on my side. You know, you're my family, you're my brother,
Sammy was going to change on him.
Whatever. He looks at Jay, and as he turns around, he goes to hug Solo. And as he goes to hug Solo, he winds up fisherman suplexing him. Now, from there, you know, the boys get up. They clear the house. All that's left in the middle of the ring is Solo. And you have Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay in the opposite corners, and then Roman. And as you go from there, you know, Roman goes to line up for the spear. And as Roman goes to line up for the spear, Sammy goes to line up for the haluva kick. Solo moves, and Sammy kicked Roman right in the face.
And Roman went down.
And Jimmy and Jay were arguing with him. They weren't happy. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that one, because I'm sure that's what they're leading to War Games, is Bloodline versus Bloodline. So now...
And I think Sammy's going to go against him.
I don't know. So now you had
the second match.
The second match, which was
Nia Jax.
Mm-mm.
No, that was Bailey and Trinity.
No, you had the 4-way women's tag team match.
What was it? Bailey, Trinity.
It was, unless they didn't write those results down, but I know that was on the card.
Bailey, Trinity.
Let me see.
The Chinese lady.
No, so okay, so that match.
They didn't put that down.
No.
Huh.
So that match was on the card. It was Bailey and Naomi.
Right.
No. The next match would have been the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, which was Bianca and Jade versus Damage Control versus Metaphor versus Chelsea and Piper, which turned out to be a fantastic match. I'm looking at the results right now.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I'm looking at the results of it right now. That was a fantastic match, which was great. Because that match, oh no, that match you're thinking of was on SmackDown.
Right.
Yeah. No. So that match, that 4-way women's tag team match turned out to be fantastic. You know, and then obviously you had Bianca and Jade win the match because they didn't want them to drop the titles that soon, which means they have something bigger in store. But I think their challengers at the end of this are going to wind up being the girls from NXT Metaphor.
Yep.
Because, you know, those two teams to me match up really well. You know, Piper showed that she could do a lot of stuff in that match. You know, she showed people that she's not what you think she is. You know, Metaphor showed out on their first main roster PLE. And then Damage Control, obviously, as always, you know, shows out Io and Kyrie. So now you go from there, you go to Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed.
That was a good match.
That was a good match. You know, it wound up basically being, you know, who can essentially hurt their opponent the most. Because, you know, they had kind of done everything up until that point.
Right.
You know, they've kind of done just about everything you could do up until this point so far that would make it a sellable match to the fans.
Correct.
And the only way to do that was basically, yes, it was not a, you know, last man standing. It wasn't this, it wasn't that. You know, it was all kinds of different things. But the way it wound up being won was Bronson went to go to the outside, grabbed the steel steps. And as he grabbed the steps, Rollins drop kicked his knee and took his knee out, which then forced his head into the V of the diamond plate steps in the back that hook around the ring post.
Right.
Yep.
I'm listening.
And then take your microphone off.
No, I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm just going to grab something.
So you had, once his head landed in the middle of the V, then, you know, Rollins curb stomped him into that. And then the stairs fell as he bounced off. And then as he leaned on the diamond plate part of the stairs, he curb stomped him into that and busted open his entire, you know, above his eye, which is the first time I think that's happened in a while that there's been blood like that on a PLE. So, I mean, we'll see what happens because I know they're going to Netflix next year. They've already cut their show times. They're down to 2 hours on Raw and I think 2 hours on SmackDown, something like that. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from there. I think it'll be very interesting to see where this one goes. I'm sure they're going to try to push it as long as they possibly can. And then, you know, now from there, you have Liv and Nia for the inaugural Crown Jewel WWE Women's Champion
over in Saudi Arabia that they can't defend.
Well, actually,
till next year.
No. So what happens is, and I'm going to kind of state this now. So what happens is when you win that match and you become the champion of champions, the belt stays in Saudi, right? But you, as the champion, get almost like a Super Bowl ring,
right?
That you take home.
Correct.
Now going into the event next year, if these champions are still champions, you know, it's basically like a Super Bowl, is you can go and collect
The rings.
The rings, as many as you want, as long as you're a champion going into that event. You'd have to be the world champion or the world heavyweight champion going into that event. So, with that, now you go into the women's match of Liv and Nia with no Raquel and no Dirty Dom at ringside and no Tiffany. So now,
I honestly thought Tiff was gonna.
well, I'm getting to
cash
that.
in.
I'm getting to that. Ooh.
I thought she was gonna cash in last night twice.
So yeah, so the match goes. Liv is wrestling Nia. We all know, Nia kind of dominates a lot of it. Liv gets her spots where she needs to be, uses her quickness, and then you get Raquel comes out to interfere after. But before that, Nia goes down from the Oblivion, and Tiffy comes out to go to cash in her belt. As she's cashing in her belt, Nia gets up and goes out of the ring. I get to say, what are you doing? What the hell is going on? And you hear Tiffy tell her, I'm cashing in on Liv. What do you mean?
Right.
I told you I wouldn't cash in on you. You know that? So she shoves Tiffany out of the way. And then Raquel comes out
and takes out Nia.
Goes to take out Nia, and as she goes to take out Nia, and Nia grabs her by the ponytail. And then Dom slides the briefcase into Liv. The ref gets the briefcase. And as the ref gets the briefcase, Liv hits Nia and goes into the Oblivion.
Right.
And then Tiffy goes to try to cash in a second time, but gets hit or run into by Raquel and Dom or however it went. And then, she doesn't cash in for the second time. So now she still has that. Nia winds up losing the match to Oblivion. I think that's the second one or the third one she hit her with. Liv now becomes the women's crown jewel champion. She gets her big moment, the hard cam shot, the pose to the crowd, and then after that, they go to the press conference at the end of the night, and she gets to do the same thing all over again. So.
Just today?
No. Today's not on there.
All right, go ahead. How do I do today?
A minute when we go to commercial. So now from there, you go to Randy Orton and KO, which is a match that everybody wanted to see. Everybody wanted to see was Randy and KO because the storyline is so compelling because he beat up Randy's friend and Cody. And, he beat up Kevin's been beating up people left and right over the last couple of weeks. Last person he attacked was Randy, and then he cut that promo and, how he was told to stay away. Randy comes out on Friday. Well, Triple H come out of the back. I need to talk to you, whatever. Got his promo, basically telling him, I want Kevin at Crown Jewel. Kevin is sheltered. He's hiding him. He's saving him. And it comes out that Triple H is just saving Randy from Kevin because he doesn't want him on the shelf permanently. So, he grants that match. Now, here we are, Crown Jewel last night. Or yesterday afternoon, I should say. You have Kevin and Randy. Kevin comes out with elbow
Excuse
pad.
him, he's so tired.
Elbow pad, wrist tape, pants on, like he's ready for a fight. Then Randy comes out and the crowd's singing his theme song. The decibel meter, I think, is up to like 190 or 127 or something like that. It's crazy. And they're singing it. So by the time Randy gets to the ring, the match officially started because they got in the ring, but they just beat the shit out of each other for probably about 15 minutes, which ended with KO jumping on top of him off the stage through a bunch of tables and electrical boxes and everything else, that they ruled it a no contest because there was no definitive winner.
Correct.
So now you can take that storyline and go somewhere else with it.
Correct.
So, it's going to be very interesting to see where they go with this. But
On that note, guys,
We're
we're
going
going
to
to
take a
take a
quick
break.
commercial. We'll be right back.
Your favorite podcast, Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. I am the Big Dog. He is the Vanilla Gorilla. And we'll be right back after these.
I was broken for a while. A drop of blood for every mile I'm on. I took all that they gave and lived to fight another day. But if today is all I get, I'll make my mark and you can bet that I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, I can't change the past, but I can change how the story turns. 'Cause it's not mistakes that make us, but the lessons learned. Because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, and even if I fall, I'll get back up, standing tall again, with a medal on my chest. God knows I've done my best, because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender. On this life, 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 on this life,
There you are. We're back.
We are back, everybody. What is up? Happy Sunday, happy fun day. Your favorite Turnbuckles and Stogies pod. The only Turnbuckles and Stogies. We are the only ones that talk about wrestling and cigars. That's why we are your favorite podcast on Sundays, 11 to 12:30. Check us out. We're on Roku TV, Amazon, YouTube, and all your streaming sports networks. Check us out, Northeast Streaming Network, and BR Radio. We also like to thank BAMF Cigars, Don Bogan Cigars, and everyone else. So now, let's get back to where we were.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what the heck just happened.
What do you mean?
Because I had everything posted and it just didn't work.
So we are going to talk about the next match.
Here we go. I got
which is,
I got it.
he got it. He's the boss. I'm just here, guys. I'm
So-
just here.
The next one was the three-way for the U.S. belt, which was LA Knight. You had LA Knight, you had Andrade, and you had Carmelo Hayes were the participants in that match, because LA Knight had interfered as the referee in their best of 7 match in Game 7.
Right.
So now he interfered. Adam Pearce Nick Aldis gave him the match he wanted, which was everybody in a 3-way for the belt in Saudi. And, obviously the biggest pop of the match was LA Knight coming out. They went on and on. They pulled out all the stops, all 3 of them. And LA Knight wins with a double BFT as Carmelo went to hit Andrade with something. I forget what it was. He went to hit him with like a leg sweep or something as he hit him. And he came around. LA Knight caught him and hit them both with a BFT and got the pin for the 1, 2, 3. And your winner was LA Knight. Now, do I think he's going to get a big title? Absolutely. He's on his way there. He might be the one to take Gunther out, or he's on SmackDown, so he'll probably take the belt from Gunther.
I don't know about that,
then
because
they're
you
pointing
got Goldberg coming back for
but
2025 to fight Gunther.
Yeah, but they're not giving him the belt. They're not giving him a belt. That's not happening, because he's doing a one-off. It's a retirement match. He's not getting the belt. So by then, Gunther will have lost the belt. Probably to Damian Priest, if anything. So then from there, you go to the main event, which was the men's crown jewel belt, which we've already stated stays in Saudi. They get a Super Bowl ring, and it was Cody versus Gunther, and that was an all-out fight. I mean, that was down to the very last second of, it was down to the very last second, and I mean the way the match ended was insane. They're pulling out all the stops, submission after submission. Cody's hitting super Cody cutters and all kinds of, flip flop and fly. He's pulling everything out of his arsenal.
Flip flop and flopping.
So as he goes, they've pulled everything out at this point. Cody goes for one last super Cody cutter.
You know why
off the top rope?
You know why Cody's doing that?
Why?
Because he's the son of a plumber.
Right. Actually, he's the grandson of a plumber. So
grandson of a plumber.
Now, back to what I was saying was he was going for one last super Cody cutter to end it all. And as he goes for the Cody cutter, Gunther catches him in a submission. As he catches him, Cody uses his body weight, falls all the way back. And as he falls back, he pins Gunther's shoulders to the mat. And Cody gets the 1, 2, 3. That's how he wins.
And it becomes the first.
He becomes the inaugural men's crown jewel champion. All the pie. I mean, each one of them, him and Liv, all got all the pyro and everything when they won and everything like that.
So everybody asked this question, and I'm gonna address this.
So I'm gonna be honest. My honest rating of that pay-per-view out of 10, I would have to say that was probably about a 9.
So I'm gonna address this question because it's been asked all over the internet, and I'm gonna tell you how this works. So everybody said, why is it when the Prince and everybody came in the ring, they did not stand next to Liv. They are not allowed to do that.
Correct.
So for all you people think that it's racist, it's not. That is their culture. They are not allowed to stand next to her. She is the woman. The woman is supposed to just be there.
Correct.
That is the way this works.
Their
culture is different than American culture.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of people said, why can't they stand next to her? Because every time you've seen them move, the Prince and his entourage went over by Cody and Triple H. So yes, they moved over there because they are not allowed to be next to the woman. That is the way it works. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You wrap up for Crown Jewel. Now, we are here. We have our guest here.
Oh, and then, well, there's one last thing real quick, which was Wednesday night. The Hurt Syndicate finally formed and have a name now. And there was a debut, which was Lashley. They messed up the debut to start because they turned the lights off, turned it back on, no music hit, no nothing, which was insane. Then they turned it back off.
And he came out
in
a brown leather
jacket. He came out in a brown leather suit, almost like a football leather.
He looked like a fucking milk dud.
And then he came out, and they're pointing him directly at Swerve to start, which is probably not a bad idea.
He looked direct. He looked like a fucking milk dud.
Quite honestly, I think they misused him for the very end of his run. They really misused him so bad it was insane. So I'm curious to see what Tony does with him. So, I mean, that's going to be interesting. I'll be watching on Wednesday. And then you have Private Party in the main event who won the tag team titles. So New Year, Private Party champions. New Year, new AEW tag team champions in Private Party. I don't see them losing the belt for a little while.
Not for a while.
At least not at full gear.
So
I see them maybe, like March, April, probably like that March show, they'll probably lose it. But that's if they let them. So we'll see.
So guys, on that note, we're going to take a commercial break.
Well,
or you want to bring them in first?
We can take a quick break. It's fine.
Take a quick break and we'll be back with our special guest, guys. Your favorite podcast, Turnbuckles and Stogies, the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. Check us out. Yo, so I keep telling y'all, the boss knows every motherfucking body. Keep telling y'all that. So guess who showed up at the hotel here in Connecticut? And y'all not gonna believe this shit. Joe, they ready for this shit, Joe?
I don't know. Are they?
Y'all not gonna believe this shit, but I'm gonna show y'all who showed up. This is the CEO and founder of NESS.
And one half of the
My man.
Sports Show.
Go ahead, man.
What's going on, fellows out there? Glad to be here with my favorite wrestling podcast. I love these guys. They're unique. They're funny. And I'll tell you, they know a lot about wrestling. You got to go to the Roku channel. Yeah, all you got to do, channel search on Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports, and you'll get their show.
So, Mac, let me ask you this. So, they can't find it. It's like the Pat McAfee show. Once ESPN take that shit off for the hour, it's done.
That's right. That's right.
So if you're not going to watch from 11 to 12:30, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. It's like being a barn. Wait, it's like being a barn smoker. If you ain't got your fucking ticket, you ain't getting in.
I know what to tell you.
Go ahead.
Go to the Turnbuckles and Stogies podcast YouTube page, and you can watch all of our back episodes from episode 5 and on.
But
the originals are on the MB Radio YouTube page.
Let me tell you something else. Go where people know. 12,430 followers.
Whoa!
On the Roku channel.
Whoa!
1,600 views a day.
I feel like Elizabeth.
I'm telling you.
Elizabeth, fat sad for Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I'm coming, Elizabeth.
I mean, you don't get any better than that.
Sports all day, every day, to include my favorite wrestling podcast.
Well, and there you have it, guys. Our producer from Connecticut, Mr. Mac Attack himself. And God bless us. Yo, we'll see y'all. We took a Sunday off. So we'll see y'all next week. Have a good day, guys. All right. Bring him in. Yo, we are back here. Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. Your only podcast that does wrestling and cigars. And I am the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. And bring him in.
So we are here live with our guest today, Silent Hero Cigars, Bryce, the owner. We're going to learn more about his brand, you know, everything, what made him do everything. So, you know, here we go. And what the heck? Hey, there we go. Hey, bro, what's up?
You guys hear me well?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
How you doing?
Oh, just wonderful.
I'm doing well. How's everything?
Good. Looks comfortable where you guys are, at least. It's not too cold.
It's like 40-ish degrees.
It's all right. You know, I just got a jacket on because, you know, I'm a guy that likes the sun, you know?
Yeah.
I set it up in the sun on purpose so that way,
you know,
I wasn't too cold.
I get that.
Where you at? Where
I'm
you
in
located?
Wyoming.
You're in Wyoming.
Yeah.
So you got snow over there already?
I tried to the other day. It was probably like half an inch, but I mean that's nothing over here.
Okay.
We're pretty accustomed to anywhere from 4 to 2 feet, 4 inches to 2 feet. So it's yeah.
So Bryce, you're a veteran, correct?
Yep.
So where did you serve? Thank you for your service, and where did you serve?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I was actually a signals analyst. So being a military intel guy, I was over at Fort Meade in Maryland, and that's where I did my 3 years of service. So
you were in the Army?
Yep.
Okay, my brother served in the Army for 28 years. God rest his soul. He's in Arlington Cemetery right now.
Wow. Yeah, 28 years.
My dad served in the military. My grandpa served in the military. My uncle served in the military.
Yeah.
My nephew's actually in the Marine Corps right now. I believe he's in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bryce, let me ask you this. So how long have you been smoking cigars, and what made you get into producing and making your own cigars?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been smoking for about 8 years now. What really got me into wanting to produce and go out to the market and see what I could do was really just the whole premise of the mission of the company. I was really suffering bad with PTSD back in 2019, 2020, and cigars were just a hobby. It was just a good passion, and it was a good outlet for me to kind of escape whatever I was going through. And so once I moved out to Wyoming back in 2021, when I came out here, that's when I really kind of flipped the switch and was like, I wonder if I can turn my passion and my hobby into something that can actually have a really good impact in the veteran community to help other people out with PTSD.
Well, just so you know, we are our producer in Colorado, MB Radio, is a veteran-owned station.
Okay.
And he helps veterans and first responders. And being that I'm a former first responder, that is the reason we are on a radio station. We've been here going on 2 years now. So it is glad to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I will be getting some of your sticks. My son was out of work, so we had to slow down on buying of sticks.
For sure.
But so are you the only guy that's doing this, or you have partners, or?
Yeah. So I originally started with another gentleman, and then just things didn't really work out between him and I. And so he ended up stepping down, and so now it's just me. My wife actually helps me a lot with the digital marketing. She does a lot of the creativity for marketing in general, rather. And then for the cigars and all that kind of stuff, it's just me.
Okay, so what was your very first cigar that you ever smoked?
Was the acid Cuba Cuba.
Hey, you know what? Everybody comes on and smoke the Cuba Cuba. I can't stand them. I cannot stand Cuba Cubas.
I smoke them once a year, and that is just my grandfather and I used to sit down on his porch and have cigars when he was still around, and So the smell of that was his favorite cigar. Like, I don't know what it was. It was just his thing. And so yeah, once a year, usually around his birthday, I'll go and grab like a little Robusto, because man, I can't I can't smoke those things like that.
So how did you come up with the name Silent Hero Cigars?
Yeah, so my old unit used to be called Silent Warrior. And so to kind of do a cheeky way of paying homage to them, I took the warrior piece off and put hero. And really the hero aspect comes in a couple different ways. One being the hero aspect of the veteran, honoring their service. And, if they do have, mental health issues that were brought on from their time in service, they're still a hero in the sense that they continue to keep fighting and fight for themselves or other people around them. They'll be here. And then the other aspect of it is the consumer. The consumer can be that silent hero within somebody else's story. So when you do purchase a cigar, you're having a direct impact in somebody else's, mental health recovery and, that whole process.
So now, when someone purchases your cigars, do you donate any money or anything to the military or to PTSD or to anything with veterans?
Yeah, so what I actually do is I partner with a specific organization for that month. I try to do small not-for-profits that specialize in helping veterans with PTSD, whether it be service dogs, what's it called, American Warrior Outdoors. They're up in New Jersey. I partnered with them for the month of October. They take veterans out that have PTSD for hunting and fishing trips. That's all free to them. They don't have to bring any equipment.
Right.
So yeah, what we do is we take 10% of our profits from each month and we donate to that organization that we partnered with.
Okay. So like you, we had a partner like us, and it just didn't work out, the hours and stuff. So, and I believe he'll be on his podcast later. But it's tough, man, being a veteran, because like I said, my dad was a veteran, and me being a former 9/11 guy, I was down at 9/11 for 7 months.
Jeez.
And I still get, and my son and them will tell you, once September comes around, I'm like a turtle in a shell.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand how you are. It's not easy. I'm sure you've seen things that a lot of other people have not seen and will not experience.
Let's see if that'll work, man. That was weird.
So tell us a little bit about all your cigars. Tell us about your line of cigars, your core line, and what you have coming out.
For sure. So my core line, I have 5 sticks. So I've got and all of my sticks are named after something sentimental or something that I'm trying to bring awareness to. So just kind of starting from the most mild all the way up to the Maduro. I've got the Maverick Candela. That seems to be our showstopper right now.
What's up, Danny?
That's a Indonesian wrapper binder with a Nicaraguan filler. And the name of Maverick actually comes from my service dog, and it actually is the name of my son. So it's kind of got that double meaning to it.
Okay.
And then kind of stepping up from there, we have the Chachi Connecticut. Chachi was actually my previous business partner's brother that passed away from PTSD. He was a young guy, only 20 years old. So that's a to commemorate his memory and to keep him living on. And that's a Ecuadorian Connecticut, so it's an Ecuadorian wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler. And then stepping up from there, we have the 2 Habanos. I've got a box press and a just regular 5x50. And both of those are just Nicaraguan puros. And then those are kind of interesting. Like I got the box press is called the Legacy Press, to keep the legacy of, people that have fallen to PTSD, to keep their memory alive, and as well as the people that continue to keep fighting with PTSD to get to that better day. It's a good way to honor those guys as well, and gals as also. And then the other Habano that we have is actually called Blend 88. That's actually named after, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Jersey cigar mafia, Frank.
Yep. Drunken Corner. That's one of our great
That's
friends.
one of our best friends.
Yeah, so Frank's brother Mike was actually a lieutenant in the New Jersey Police Department. He was involved in a officer-involved shooting, back in a couple years ago, and he just recently lost his battle to PTSD.
Wow.
So to honor his family, and and Frank's been a super good friend to me. I wanted to do something that showed him appreciation and let his family know that we're trying to keep his legacy alive, because he was something that like really like struck home. Like Mike Falaise was on the Suffering podcast. This guy, battling his own PTSD, would go on there and try to help others. Like, the dude was just continuing that selflessness and that service to his community. And no one really knew how bad he was truly suffering inside. And, and like I said, unfortunately, he lost his life back in, I believe, May. And then after that, we have the Founder's Choice Maduro, which is kind of, obviously that's my favorite. So it's a San Andreas Maduro with Nicaraguan binder and filler. And now what I'm working on is another stick that I hope to come out with early spring, before summer, is a double Corona, and that should be pretty interesting.
That's always, that double Corona size is always an interesting size to do.
Yeah,
because not a lot of people will do it.
And that's the thing, with my brand is, I'm trying to constantly do things that are just different. Like I have the Candela, I always tell people, if I would have had like the glass, like those Ray-Bans that have the camera in the corner right here, capture people's reactions of when I said I was going to do a Candela as in the core line. Yeah.
Because it's a very hard wrapper to work with, because it's got just that earthy grittiness to it. Like it's such a hard wrapper to work with and try to blend correctly. But if it's done right, it's a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, and the thing that's really challenging with it too is the leaf is so thin that if you smoke the cigar too quick, you might have it rip. Not where the foot is or where it's currently the cherry is. It'll rip by like the middle, and it'll just completely unravel. And so that was a concern that I had to work through. And then on top of that, a lot of Candela smokers, they don't want, the most part, they don't want that really overwhelming alfalfa, grass, and hay, taste to it. They're like, that's not what I'm doing. And I came out with the blend, and it's nothing like that. Like, you have some people that can kind of faintly taste that, double Calero, a little bit of alfalfa, but for the most part, man, I mean, it's like non-existent. Like, you're getting a lot of floral notes, you're getting a little bit of tangerine notes, and you're getting green tea, especially, the retrohale on that is it's just beautiful. And I think that's what's really captivated a lot of people.
So now, where do you is it in DR, Nicaragua, Ecuador? Where do you roll your cigars?
In Esteli in Nicaragua.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
What else? Jeez Louise. I'm dumbfounded right now. Pardon us.
You're fine.
You got anything?
Good.
So what made you want to open up with, what is it? Like, what do you have? 5 core line cigars?
Yeah, 5.
Now, is that did you do that based on like humidor presence, shelf space, or was it you just had 5 cigars in mind you wanted to do it to start with?
Yeah, so I really had the consumer in mind. So I wanted to kind of hit the whole, palette, if you will. So like, if you come in there and you're like, hey man, I'm not I like something a little bit bolder. I like something a little spicy, or if you're like, hey, I like that other end of the spectrum. I like the very mild. I like the light with a little bit of body to it. Like it's all there. So I really wanted to be able to kind of hit the wide range of market of smokers that, as you guys have probably seen. And even like doing the box, I did a Habano box press, because it's kind of right in the middle of my core line, but I'm still
Right.
able to capture that box press market. Like I've got some guys and even gals that, you know, that'll DM me and stuff like that, and they only smoke box press. Like, to each their own. You know, do your thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't realize that smoking a box press is totally different than smoking a round cigar.
Yeah.
And we only found this out because we're friends with a master roller. And
Well, no, it was Rick from West
and was
Tampa.
Rick
that
from
told
West
us.
Tampa.
Yeah.
If you take a box press and you smoke that, what happens is the air goes
Because
inside.
your mouth doesn't fully.
Right.
He said what it is when you smoke something like this, you know, you're not getting any air
Right.
in with your cigar. So the box press, they like the corners of your mouth are open, so when you're puffing, it's bringing in air and it's cooling the smoke.
Right.
And you're getting more of the. That's exactly what I said. I didn't know it. I was like, oh, you know, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you know, I'm like, it's so. And then once you know that, and then you try, like, if they make, you know, the same cigar in a box pressed and a regular, you know, round press cigar.
Yeah.
And you smoke them, it's like, wait a second, this really is two totally different.
So I don't know if you know.
cigars.
I don't know if you know Rick Rodriguez from West Tampa.
Mm-mm.
He used to be a master blender with Michael Giannini for La Gloria Cubana
back in the day. Now
CAO.
he blended all the CAO line until a couple of years ago, and then he
when
left.
He retired on a Saturday and went back to work on Monday.
Went to his own company.
Nice.
So yeah, so you know that's how we know a lot of stuff. We have a lot of friends, and you know that's why I brought that up, because now when you go, do you go to Esteli and taste the blends before you put them out?
So they send them to me. Unfortunately, just the situation I'm currently in, it's a little harder and a little more difficult to just you know, pack up and roll.
Right.
But no, so they sent them to me, and then that's kind of where I started. So the factory that I partnered with, they actually sent me kind of like a base blend, like an idea as to what they thought I was wanting out of it, and then just went from there. So like the Candela was a good one. You know, they sent me something that was just really earthy, very overwhelming with grass and hay, and it even had a little bit of like black pepper in it, and I was like, no, like do the reverse. Like, do the complete reverse, you know, because
no, it's true, because you know that's what a lot of factories do with their Candelas, is they make it that earthy cigar, and then you try to smoke it, it's like, well, this is not
what I want.
Yeah, this doesn't taste good.
Yeah, it like I was like, this is, you know, literally just do the opposite. And came back, they sent me 5 more, and then they were like, just start left to right, and left was like what they sent me the first time, and then the right was like them gradually starting to kind of wean it back. And the one on the furthest right, if you will, was exactly what I wanted. You know, it had very little, it doesn't have any black pepper in that. You know, and it's just an all-round really light smoke. And you know, Candelas, you know, traditionally that's a Candela. You know, you want a really light smoke, but you want to make sure it's flavorful, not just smoke. Nothing. You know what I mean?
Right. So now are you going to PCA this year? Or next year?
Yeah.
You are. Well, we'll be at PCA, so we're going with we're gonna go with BAMF cigars.
Oh,
with Ish.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You know, but we always like to meet people, and you know, we appreciate you coming on. So when are you gonna put out your new release?
So, like I said, I'm looking at doing that in September. Oh no, definitely not September. Next spring. So hopefully by like May. Yeah, that's really when I'm looking at doing it.
And now, do you have like a
name for it?
Not even a name so much, like a wrapper or blend that you're already working with, or is it aging? Or are you still in that testing period?
Yeah, it's still kind of in that testing period. I'm really trying to do something with Honduran tobacco, and try to get that going, because that's actually that's one of my favorites. That's really what I started smoking after the acid Cuba more Honduran tobacco. And then it kind of started to trickle into obviously, Nicaraguan and stuff like that, just because I think that's a little bit more mainstream. Maybe that's
right. And it's got more of that bite too. That Nicaraguan tobacco has more of the bite than the Honduran or the Ecuadorian and stuff like that. Like I've noticed that myself too.
Yeah, and like the Indonesian, is pretty.
I think we had an Indonesian cigar.
We did have a cigar with an Indonesian binder.
Oh, that was from Ish.
No, I'll tell you who it's from when we get off. I'll tell you exactly who it's from because I know the blend like the back of my hand. I might have worked with it quite a bit. You know who it is as soon as I tell you when I get off. You'll know exactly who it is.
So what does your wife think of what you're doing as a hobby and a business now? What did you do before you got into cigars?
Yeah, so I mean, I came from a finance background. That's where all my education and my experiences, outside of the military, obviously. And her biggest thing was like, if you're going to do this and you're going to take that leap of faith here, you need to make sure like, what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, make sure like all your, I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, make sure that everything is sound and then, execute. And, being the only person that's smoking these, that's as far as like when I'm doing the blending and all of that,
right.
It's a lot of, she had a tremendous amount of faith in my palate and being able to, distinguish, in theory, if it's going to be a mutually liked cigar or if people are, if it's just a cigar that I enjoy.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a difference.
That's the thing is you have to blend for the masses, not for you.
Did you ever think on having like a taste test panel?
So that's the thing, I wanted to do something like that, but at the point where I was at, I wasn't so plugged in, as well as like, the people that I know out here in Wyoming, they don't smoke cigars like that. They're just really burning tobacco. And when you're blending something, you want to make sure that that person has a pretty refined palate. Not just, I mean, it's helpful, don't get me wrong, but you want more than just, someone to be able to spot construction issues or draw.
Right.
You want somebody that's able to, distinguish what kind of notes that they're getting, if it's consistent with what you're getting, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's the big.
Because that's kind of the same thing we ran into, while we were testing and kind of taste testing our own blends at one point that we were working on. It was kind of, we would pass them out to, like you said, to people we knew could pick out what we were looking for, or to pick out, like we worked with one guy where he had a couple of bundles of a different blend than what he sold in his store.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, listen, take these, we bought them from him, and he was like, take these, try these, and hand them out and see what people think, and people were loving what we were putting out originally. But now, that we've kind of over the last few years gotten, plugged in with a lot of people in the industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're looking at redoing kind of what we originally had.
Nice.
And playing with the different tobaccos. And it's nice to have other people to kind of bounce it off of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people say, this business is hard. It's like any other business. You got to be able to take constructive criticism.
Yeah.
If I call you up after I buy your cigars and I say, hey, Bryce, listen, man, this cigar cracked on me. It fucking sucks. You're going to be like, oh, shit, send me a picture.
Yeah.
Send you a picture, whether you replace it or not.
Or like, hey, this one might have might have not been sitting long enough. The beetle is still in here. Here's 2 holes. Like, send this to the you're going to take it and go to the factory and go, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, what is this? You're sending me these cigars. I'm selling them to people. They're buying them and there's fucking beetles in them. Like, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and the main thing with all of that stuff, it is important to be able to take criticism and learn where to adjust and everything. That was my biggest thing was, cigars are not cheap. It doesn't matter what part of the process you're in. And with me, you know, I had an extensive conversation with the factory and everything that, you know, like how do you guys mitigate, you know, cigar beetles and stuff that can just demolish my inventory? And, you know, it's pretty interesting. I learned that they flash freeze the tobacco. And so that kills all of the larvae that's in the tobacco. So there virtually should not be any risk of that. Now, granted, you do have, you know, the other factors that, you know, you can't really mitigate unless, you know, you just have a little bit of luck too, you know, like the cracking, stuff like that. But a lot of it too is like, you know, if you get a large quantity in the door, as like a manufacturer or a business owner rather, I mean, you got to do quality control, man. I mean,
of course,
you got to make sure that the wrapper is intact. You got to make sure it's not split anywhere, because again, like you said, you know, you want to make sure that you're giving the consumer the best possible experience.
Right.
And if something still goes awry, you know, that's when, like you said, that's when you address it and take that back over and you're like, hey, that needs,
and you know, like if you get certain guys that, you know, you talk to, or like, you know, like for us, you know, you've done their podcast, we've talked, whatever, you know, like there's certain people that, you know, don't ever complain about their cigars.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had cigars completely crack on me and I'll just send them a picture and be like, hey, crack, but I'm still smoking it. Like, just wanted to let you know, I don't know what the issue is. If it was me or them or you, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, not complaining, just a heads up, you know, to keep an eye out. Because that's, you know, I'm not the guy that'll complain about the cigars, because at the same time, what a lot of people don't take into account is it's a handmade product.
Correct.
Right.
You know,
machine made.
It could have been the wrapper was cracked and they glued it, you know, or glued a piece on and it ripped off, you know, there's so many different things. Like they could have rolled it too tight. There's just so many different factors that, you know, you could have let it sit a little longer in your humidor, not theirs.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just, there's so many different avenues that it could be. It's like, until you know what it is, you know, you can't really go at the manufacturer, at the brand, like, yo, what the hell did you do? Right. This is breaking. What the fuck is wrong with you? Your cigars suck, because you don't know what it is.
So, guys, on that note, we got to take a quick commercial break and pay the bills. This is your Turnbuckles and Stogies pod, the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. We'll be right back.
I'm about as far as I'm going. Welcome home. I'm sure your family and all your friends are going to be glad to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Walking these old dirt road side streets, looking at the sights and reminiscing, wondering what's changed since I've been gone. I'm coming home. It's like yesterday that I left here. Time flies and now it's been years, but I know this is where I belong.
Hey, Grandpa.
I'm coming home. Coming home to the family, friends and the memories, the ones I love and the ones I regret. Coming back to make a new life, built on the one I left behind. Thank God it wasn't over yet. We're not made to live this life alone, so I'm coming home. Fear from returning. Thought others won't forgive the bridges burning, but I'm planning to rebuild what is gone now that I'm home. And I know it won't be the same that it was, but that's okay, 'cause I will always love this place and the ones who call it home. Yeah, that's my home. Coming home to the family, friends and the memories, the ones I love and the ones I regret. Coming back to make a new life, built on the one I left behind. Thank God it wasn't over yet when I made to live this life alone. So I'm coming home. When I made to live this life alone. So I'm coming home.
Yo, we are back. We are back. Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod, your favorite podcast here, Wrestling and Cigars. And we are here with the founder and CEO of Silent Hero Cigars, Mr. Bryce himself. So, Mr. Bryce, let me ask you this. So, what is your price range and where can anyone purchase Silent Hero Cigars?
Yeah, so if you're wanting to do well, let's just do this first. You can purchase them on SilentHeroCigar.com. Toro Cigar Company is another online retailer. They also carry my 5-pack sampler. And then outside of that, if you go on SilentHeroCigar.com and you hit the Find Us tab at the top of the page, you'll see all of the in-person locations that we currently have throughout the United States, as well as the link, obviously, to Toro Cigar Company.
So are you anywhere in New York and New Jersey?
I am not in either of those, actually. The closest one that I'm in over there is in Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what is any retailers watching on the Roku? Because right now we're live on Roku and Amazon as well.
Yeah.
So, for anybody watching, like, what's your minimum requirement for an order? And how can they order them from you directly? Like, obviously you're wholesaling to the retailers.
Yeah. So, really just go on SilentHeroCigar.com, go to the contact page, put in your email and all that stuff, and let me know that you're a wholesaler, or not a wholesaler, excuse me, retailer rather, and just email me. We can hash out the details there. As far as the minimum, I always tell people there's no minimum. If you want to carry one box of whatever blend that you feel compelled to, or hell, if you need cigars to sample out as a retailer, just to make sure you're not going to take in anything that you don't feel comfortable with, we can work that out as well. So very flexible. The price to the retailer is definitely not, it's very affordable. Let's just say that. It's very, very doable for them. So it leaves something on the table for everybody. But yeah, definitely go on there, send me an email. It'll go to me directly and we can get it going from there.
So what the hell made you move to Wyoming from Jersey?
But Well, I used to live in Annapolis, Maryland, or at least in the area around there. And I did that for the duration of my time in the service. When I got out, I really needed some peace and quiet, and I really kind of needed some distance from people, as far as neighbors go. So my wife and I actually looked at South Dakota, Iowa, and Wyoming. We started with Wyoming first because, it's obviously the furthest. Right. And I felt at home, I felt a little bit more at peace, with the vastness and just the opportunity that's out here. I was just like, this is where I want to be. The cold, if you don't like the cold, just don't.
Just making sure he puts that out there. Don't.
Yeah. You don't like the cold, do not move to Wyoming.
Don't do it.
If you don't like the cold and you don't like the wind, just don't. Just don't. At least don't live here in the wintertime. Just say that.
Okay.
But yeah.
So what is your price range for your cigars?
So if you buy them in a single stick on my website, they're $12 a piece. Obviously, I'm incentivizing people to buy more than one. So right. if you buy 5, and you can. So on my website, I do things a little different. So you can buy a sample pack, which is 1 of each, right? But I also do something that's called build your own. So I figured out how to code into my website. You can get 5 cigars, and you can specifically select exactly what you want to try. You're not throttled into, just the sample pack. You can exactly go in there and you can pick like, hey, if I want 3 Candelas and I want 2 Maduros, you can do that. If you want 5 of the same thing, you can do that. It's whatever the consumer wants. And it's still
like
50. That. So it's $55 for 5 sticks, and that in those 2 configurations. And again, you can either get 1 of each, or you can get 5 of one kind. It's whatever you want to do. And then, obviously we do a 20 count box. The 20 count boxes are $245. I'm currently working on changing that box to get that price to actually drop. So it's actually a little bit more appealing to people, as well as, not hurting my heart either. You know what I mean?
Show everybody.
What's that?
Do you have any boxes that you can show everybody?
Oh yeah, hold on. So they look like this on the front, and then if you swap it, it's kind of good. There we go. If you swap it, it's got the name on the front, the band on the top, and then when you open it, it has the our strength, your strength, our mission, and then it has exactly what the mission statement is of the company. So nice. It lets the consumer know immediately. If you're walking around in a cigar lounge or something like that, and maybe the tobacconist isn't walking beside you, if you just look at the box, you're already going to know that it's a veteran company, and the company specializes in PTSD awareness and how we impact that community to provide a positive way forward. So
okay, I like that. I like that idea. So now all your boxes, do they all look the same? Like, are they different? Are they different colors? Are they all black? Are they all?
So they all look the same. So they all are going to look like this right now. I'm currently in the process of actually changing those, and they're going to have a lot more detail on the top. And I mean, there's just going to be a lot more detail just everywhere around the board. The box that I currently have was kind of, wood, let's just put it this way. Wood boxes were starting to be really high demand but low supply. And so obviously when you have that, it's a consumer nightmare. So they're going to jack up the prices because the demand's high and the supply is low.
Right.
And, for me already, that box to cost is $12, which is already stupid high.
Yeah.
And then when I was looking at doing wood at the time, it was in $18-20, and I was like, I can't. Like I literally can't. Like, they're gorgeous, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But I was like, I just can't. Like,
Let me ask you this: why not try to do maybe one line in bundles?
So that's actually what my Candela is. My Candela is in bundles, so it's kind of an experiment with that to see how people enjoy it. A lot of people, for example, they want to have the boxes on display, whether it be at their house or at the retail level,
Right.
obviously they can, display the cigars, right?
Right.
And so I'm actually trying to work on either doing a display box that the retailer can keep. And so that way I can just get them cigars at a cheaper cost to them, and they can just refill the display.
I was just going to say, like, do refill bundles of 20,
a
basically.
lot of cigar manufacturers now are doing, because I seen this done with like 3 factories already, where they're making the boxes a travel humidor.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I have
So
seen that.
so if you purchase a box, it's also a humidor.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't realize that that's what everybody's turning into now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, the refill boxes are probably the best option because, then the retailers don't have to take that box off their shelf.
Right.
Yeah. And
they can order however many boxes or, a box of each, and then know which one sells more, and you just order the refill bundles right away so that you have it when it sells out.
Because again, like logistically, it's not cost efficient for the retail shop as well as the manufacturer, the business owner, because at the end of the day, say if they're not going to refill the box, right, which is not that common, they're going to take that box and they're just going to throw that thing into the damn dumpster, or they might give it away for free. But ultimately, the retailer and the manufacturer just paid for that.
What they do with most of the boxes now, once they're done with that box, they take it and they put it on a box thing, and they sell them for like $2 to $3.
Yeah, they sell them for like $1. That box that cost you $18 to $20 to make,
you're making $1.
Somebody just bought it for $1.
Yeah,
like I've seen them sell like Padron boxes like $5. I'm like, those boxes are probably, the way they're done, I'm like, those boxes are probably like $45 to $50 a box. I'm like, and here you are selling that box for $5.
But like you said, they'll just order a new box and just put a new box up there.
Exactly.
But I've seen the refill boxes become a common thing over the last year or so. A lot of companies are starting to do that. And I think it's because, like you said, because of that price going up for the wooden boxes, they're selling you the box to start with and then just selling you the bundles to refill them.
Yeah. And and again, like, you're going to pay a little bit more up front for the, that bigger display box that's going to hold all, like for me, for all 5 of my core blends. But at the end of the day, that's a one-time purchase. I can just give that shop. And I mean, right now I'm very blessed and very fortunate. I'm in 10 shops right now. If I can,
that's great.
Yeah. And I mean, if I can just give them the display box and they can just order from and just refill it, that's so much easier. And so that's
not only that, the display box too gives you a bigger shelf presence.
Exactly.
Because if you're putting all 5, like a lot of the companies do, they'll send you that big, really, really big one. It comes, like you said, with all the core line in it.
Yeah.
That gives you a big shelf space.
You almost hit me in the face with your cigar.
You'd be all right. It gives you that big enough shelf space that when somebody walks in, they're going to see it and go, oh, what's this? I want to try that now, because you have probably one of the biggest spots in the humidor.
Exactly.
And especially, like if they do like I used to do when I worked for companies and I tried to get them in shops, I used to put them right in front of the window. Like with like the logo facing the window.
Yeah.
So that when they walk in, they see that and go, oh wow, what's that?
Yeah.
Because now you're intrigued because you see such a big back for the logo.
Right.
Now you're like, well, what's that? I want to go see what that is. And now you're gonna walk over and they're gonna go, oh, that looks pretty good. That looks good. That looks good. Now before you know it, they're trying one, smoking it, and then going back and buying 4 or 5 more.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. Like that's the way most of the boutique companies have gone, and some of even the bigger name companies I've seen start to do that now.
Yeah,
because it's cost efficient.
Yeah, like I know, like Acid, Acid started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've got the whole humongous display in there, and it just just one after another. It's
Drew Estate is very big on that.
They do that. Cusano did that for a while.
Does that.
Except what Cusano was doing is Cusano was sending like the wooden ones.
Yes.
The wooden display boxes, but the really big ones.
Oh, so does Rocky. Rocky has
Cusano engraved in the in the front, and then Rocky does it with the edge.
With the edge. He has the blue edge, the brown edge, and the red
he'll do that with the edge
all together.
And he'll put them all in there.
Yeah.
Huh.
So listen, we're gonna let you go, my brother, because we got a few more things to talk about. But we appreciate you coming on, dog. Appreciate you.
And then maybe we'll in the next couple of weeks, maybe we'll set aside a day, and on a weekend maybe or something when I order your cigars, and then we'll kind of sit down and like we are now, and we'll smoke it, and
we'll come back on. We'll record again, and then
we'll record it, and then we'll just drop it.
Then we'll drop it again.
Sounds good.
So listen, Bryce, thanks for coming on, my man.
Thank you.
My hat's off to you. Thanks for your service, brother. I wish you well, and thanks again. And make sure you order from
Silent Hero
Cigars.
It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
I can see the steam coming out of your ears. I can see the steam coming out of your ears thinking it's okay.
Bryce, take care, my friend.
You guys as well. Enjoy.
Thank you. Let me just make sure I got it.
So, guys, on
right
that note,
for next week,
we're going to promote two of our good friends, Mr. Pugs and Mr. Coop.
Yes.
And the Cigar Army, Toys for Tots. If you want to reach out to them, you can reach out to them through Instagram, King of Kings 50, or
actually, you could just reach out to the Cigar Army page.
Cigar Army page. There you go.
Yeah, just reach out to the Cigar Army.
If you want to donate some cigars, you want to donate a humidor.
I do think I don't know if they're still taking donations. You can ask. I know
or you can buy a raffle.
Yeah,
one raffle for 15, two for 25.
And I know we have a humidor for them.
Yes,
that we're gonna throw in there. So
Turnbuckles and Stogies giving them a humidor.
Turnbuckles and Stogies pod is gonna be a part of that with our one of our humidors that we had and just had to do a review for that somebody had sent us. That we're currently not using. So you'll see that. Next week is the 10th, which, if I'm correct,
what do we got on?
And I think I'm correct because you were there when we did it. Bourbon Battalion and their cigars.
Bourbon Battalion. I'm still waiting on this.
So
cigar. I should be getting
Bobby, Zach, and John, I believe, right?
Yes, John.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for them.
So they'll be on next week.
I got to hit them up this week.
To do Veterans Day, because obviously Monday is Veterans Day, the 11th. So that was actually
that was planned.
Well, I wouldn't say it was.
No, it was.
Well, originally it wasn't planned. We had the 10th open, and it just kind of worked out that.
So I think what we should do is talk to Mac and maybe just drop it on the 11th.
Well, no, I'd rather do the Sunday one because it's it'll be nice. It'll be nice.
We can do that. I could wear my American hat.
You can. You can also see how cold it's going to be before you agree to do that.
I could wear my American hat.
You can also see how cold it's going to be before you agree to do that.
We'll see.
And then after that, the next Sunday will be a pre-recorded episode.
Pre-recorded.
Remember, because it's Arizona Jim and his dad, S&W Cigars.
Then we got Don Boggin coming up.
Yeah, we're recording Don Boggin.
And then December.
And then the 24th, we're supposed to have Black Star Line.
I haven't heard from them yet.
Well, they confirmed with us, so.
Yeah, I got to send them an email.
I sent them an email already.
So guys, we're booked up until December.
We're booking into December, so.
December 10th, we have Sticks and Stones coming on.
Yep. Actually, it's not the 10th. I think it's the 15th.
I think it was the 10th.
No, it's 15th.
Are you sure?
The 10th is a Tuesday. I'm looking at the calendar right here.
I got to check.
The 10th is a Tuesday. I know what I'm looking at. She texted it to you.
Yeah, I just got to check. Give me a second.
It's the 15th. I put it in my phone.
All right. It's the 15th.
And then the 29th is probably going to be the one we take off because that's going into, New Year's.
Hopefully by then I'll have my Divergence bourbon.
So Christmas you'll probably see on the 22nd if we don't have anybody booked. We'll
See
record
one of our shows.
You'll
drop.
see one of our shows. I'm still trying to get YouTube to upload some shows for me. They just take a while to upload. So stay on the lookout for those. I got a bunch of interviews dropping just for content for you guys. I might drop them midweek. This way you guys have something to watch midweek as well as on Sundays, you know, and go from there. Because we have a second part of Quality Importers in the bank.
Yeah, we got to get them up.
Henderson,
Henderson,
Tony Barrios, Jonas. I mean, we recorded a ton over the summer because we knew it was going to start to get cold.
And when it gets cold, the boss don't like to be outside.
So we did that with the intention of it being cold. This way, we had stuff to drop.
Right. Correct.
So, you know, I'm going to get with those guys and, you know, pick days to drop those. This way, you'll see the Quality Importers ones go up because they'll, you know, it'll be, you'll see it go up because I'll have a video.
If y'all don't know about Quality Importers, y'all need to try the cigars.
Oh, so conspiracy cigars, yes.
And a box, when you buy a box, their box is a travel humidor.
Yes.
And if you buy the small box, you get a lighter and a cutter. If
No,
you buy them,
the small box is a cutter. I think the big box is a lighter and a cutter.
No, they both come with a lighter and cutter, but it's I don't want to say cheap end.
No, because none of them, we've seen them. Remember, they only had cutters in them. None of them had lighters. So, you know, we're working on that. Coming into the new year, just to kind of give you guys a heads up.
We'll be with Ish again soon.
Well, we're working on, now that I'm back to work, we're working on some turnbuckles and stogies cutters. So you'll see those coming out soon, maybe a couple of lighters here and there.
No.
But I'm going to do like I originally told you, we're going to order from a different place, you know, and try a couple of different lighters by themselves, like order one each for each of us.
Okay.
Try different lighters for a little while before we finally settle on, you know, what to order, basically.
What to do.
So you'll see all that kind of coming out, you know, streamlining through next year. The merch store is up. Go get your merchandise.
Get your merchandise, Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. You heard?
You know, it's my spread, Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod, my spread.
And just so you'll know,
if you go to the link tree in our bio on Instagram, it's at Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. Click the link in the bio. That'll take you to the merch store, the YouTube channel, Spotify, everything. Spotify will be getting updated pretty soon. I'm a couple of weeks behind.
And there's one thing I need to promote.
What's that?
My buddy Matty Rock's Coffee.
Well, I'm working on getting some of that too.
You need to go to Matty Rocks and get his coffee. If you don't go and get his coffee, you're going to get fucked up. Just saying. So, guys, on that note, it's been another fun day, Sunday, with Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. We had a blast with Silent Hero Cigars. Shout out to all our sponsors, TPA,
Don Bargain,
Ish,
Sagrado now. There's a few other ones somewhere.
Everybody. Shout out to all our sponsors. That's all I got to say. Northeast Streaming Network, MB Radio.
Everybody on Roku and
everybody
Amazon.
on Roku and Amazon. So, guys, on that note, it's been fun. It's been your man, Big Dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. It's another Sunday fun day. Go Giants, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. giving our veterans a voice.